Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Bitcoin continues to be in the holding pattern, but we're entering a very exciting trading week. Especially towards the middle of the week, I think we're going to see a lot of volatility. The market is still undecided. You see that the market is just moving sideways in overlapping, corrective looking price action. We are still likely in this fourth wave. That's the idea, okay? I explained that in yesterday's video as well. We're still likely in the fourth wave with, however, one more high forecasted in wave 5. The condition is that the $34,100 level is holding. At least we need to avoid a sustained break below it. That is really the key level that needs to hold to keep the idea of one more high in this current structure alive before the next pullback occurs and the next major decision point. That could then be a deeper pullback in a B wave, which I would use to buy, or a more shallow, sideways focused pullback or correction in a wave 4 of a larger degree, which should be more substantial than the current one, because it is a larger wave degree. But we will be able to talk about the relevant support levels when we get to it. First of all, I focus on another high until the market proves that it wants to do something different. At the moment, we only in this sideways focused price action. You see there is really a lot of uncertainty in the market because of the uncertainty this week. Really, the market hasn't really decided what to do on the smallest time frames, but there are a few important levels to mention and a few important aspects really. First of all, the market really keeps the door open in both directions. So what is important for me is more than the microstructure or anything else, it's the $34,000 level down there. As long as this level is holding, the expectation, this wave count doesn't really change. Okay, so this wave count hasn't changed in, 3 to 4 weeks. So the assumption that we're in a wave 4 hasn't changed. Yep, the microstructure always changes. That's normal in a correction because the market is just dynamically evolving in these corrections, and there are more than 12 patterns. So again, if we do micro counting in corrections, it's really just to understand, okay, do we have the minimum requirements fulfilled for this correction, and do we already see a 5-wave move to the upside, which would indicate that the correction is over. But the overall structure here is completely unchanged, and the support levels have been holding, and that's really important. So the market, we have to give it that entire space potentially down to 34K if it needs a deeper pullback. Now, that's not what I expect. I don't think the market will necessarily come down all the way to that level. At the moment, we are not even close to that level. But what I can see is potentially that the market pulls back a little lower or pulls back a little more, for example, to 39,360, maybe even 36K. The two main Fibonacci levels here, the 23.6 Fib level or the 38.2. But it really depends on sort of the news that comes out this week and how the market reacts to it. But you see there is a buffer. There is a buffer of support, you can say, before we get an invalidation here that the market can use. So it's quite good. I mean, I would get a little bit worried if the price was very deep in support already. But because it's sort of above support, it has all this space it can use, right? Which is good for short-term, let's say, unpredictable volatility. It means that short-term volatility may not really easily invalidate our scenario. Okay, it will only be invalidated below 34K. Might be worth talking about what would happen below that. Well, I would have to assume that the A wave has already topped and that we are in a B wave, which can be quite deep, could get us into the region below 30K. Yeah, 19 to 29K is sort of roughly at the moment the main support level for that. That would not be bearish. That would just be a deep pullback in an overall bullish scenario, which I think everybody would welcome, or most people would welcome, because it could be basically the last opportunity to really, let's say, load up the bags before the market could move to new all-time highs if we get that B-wave pullback. Which I would really treat as a gift. But I'm not sure if the market is as nice, is so nice to give it to us. At the moment, the market activity still would favor another high here. Before, yeah, maybe then the B wave starts or the wave 4, but we will deal with that question once we have reached the next high, which should take us to 50k plus. So looking at the microstructure then, it seems as if an A wave completed, a high B wave completed. We're now in this C wave. Here, microstructure is a bit ambiguous, could literally go both ways. I shared it with you. Important is that the triangle is now complete technically. So it's technically ready for a breakout to the downside. So that test of the trend line here will happen probably shortly. So if that trend line holds, it could be the catalyst to bring it down in wave C of 3. But if we see a break above the break above the trend line, and especially a break above the A wave high at 44,000, what is that? So I just labeled a triangle on here. It's not, don't treat it as predictive. It's just sort of to show, okay, a triangle is technically complete, might be worth watching. So a break above 44,840 would indicate that, yeah, maybe this white count plays out. So they are both relevant. They are both the microstructures that I shared with you in the last video. Literally on the shorter time frame, we could get this diagonal to the upside if a 5-wave move to the upside emerges, but we need those 5 waves and Bitcoin shows some strength, then it could indicate that the low is already in wave 4, but I need to see all 5 waves for that to have further confirmation for that scenario. At the same time, if we see a break below the last swing low at now 43,236 roughly, then this would indicate that the triangle is breaking to the downside and wave C has started, but we would also need to take out here the $42,500 level. So yeah, who knows where it's going? I mean, the market will have to give us that indication. At the moment we see green candles, so it looks like momentum to the upside, but literally it needs to break that high to really confirm that. And then yeah, the white count is already on the chart. What would be a target for white wave 3? So that would be minimally $46,000, yeah, dollars. The 1.236 extension minimally, which is what the third wave should reach in a diagonal. I'd still slightly prefer another low, but that doesn't necessarily have to come from here. This structure might morph a few times before it really reveals its true intentions. That's my update about Bitcoin. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.